When the Roman legions left London in 410 AD, they brought civilization with them. The fade wasn't gradual. The metropolis didn't simply cease expanding in a single generation. It went back in time. The heating system turned cold. Trade came to an end. And a 500-year period of darkness descended upon London. How can a megacity become a ghost town? Let's investigate. Let's return to the year 400 AD. On the surface, Londinium continues to be Britain's crown jewel. The baths are still warm. The governor is still hosting banquets with wine from Italy. The markets continue to be active. The empire seems endless to a civilian standing on London Bridge. It has been in place for 4 centuries, longer than the current United States. They are unaware that they are in the last chapter of history. They are blind to the system's flaws. There is too much strain on the economy. The edges are gushing blood. Additionally, the legions are being subtly dragged away to participate in battles nearer Rome. The storm has already broken, even if the sun is beaming. London's failure was not the reason for its end. It resulted from a disaster that occurred 1,000 miles distant. The unimaginable occurred in 410 AD. Rome was sacked by the Visigoths. The Eternal City was on fire for the first time in 800 years. Emperor Honorius had no warriors left over for a far-off foggy island because he was desperate to safeguard the empire's core. He responded in a chillingly succinct manner to the desperate British leaders who wrote to him, pleading for assistance in preventing raids. Pay attention to your own defenses. Rome had vanished. After marching to the ports, the legions sailed out to fight in Italy, never to return. All of a sudden, the empire's logistics center had no empire left to service. London was left an orphan. When a global economy is disconnected, what happens? The money just ended within 10 years. In fact, after 402 AD, archaeologists have hardly discovered any new coinage entering Britain. The marketplaces and workshops were powered by the cash economy, which began to collapse. You couldn't pay workers to clean the sewers without money. Oil for the lamps could not be imported. The markets were deserted in a matter of years. The glassworks went cold, and the potteries were shuttered. Youngsters were going hungry. Take this. They cannot be fed with leather. In order to survive in the shell of a high-tech city, Londoners were compelled to return to a barter economy. Roman London is a city that needs ongoing upkeep. The machines started to malfunction in the absence of engineers. The fountains dried up, and the aqueducts were choked. The basilica's enormous roof started to leak, causing the wood to decay. Once the pinnacle of luxury, the hypocaust heating systems turned into rat-infested, worthless caverns. Those who stayed made an effort to make things right. We discover indications of open fire pits and rough timber boards covering large mosaic floors. Desperately trying to stay warm in drafty stone ruins had replaced the magnificence. Once home to 30,000 people, Londinium was essentially deserted by 450 AD. In the river, the bridges fell. Fallen masonry blocked the roads. This era is known to archaeologists as the Dark Earth. The Roman ruins are covered in a thick layer of black earth, indicating that nature reclaimed the city for centuries. Over the forum, grass sprouted. The roofs were tiled, but trees broke through. The ancient world's New York was now a ghost town. The abandoned Roman homes were not occupied by the Anglo-Saxons when they finally arrived in the 600s. They were actually afraid of them. A mile to the west, close to present-day Covent Garden, they established their settlement, London. Living in modest wooden huts, they thought the Roman city's collapsed arches and tall stone walls were the creation of giants. They declined to reside within the walls. They believed that ghosts or devils were haunting the ruins. Thus, the Roman city remained a forbidden, overgrown island of stone in the distance, while the Saxons cultivated outside. The square mile that is today the world's financial hub, London, sat silent for almost 400 years. People didn't return to the walls to protect themselves against the Vikings until King Alfred the Great did so in the late 800s. However, Rome's heyday was forgotten. The statues were buried, the glass was broken, and the knowledge vanished. It would take a millennium for London to reach its former height, but it would rise again. The Roman metropolis, however, was never really gone. The Roman roads served as the foundation for the medieval streets. Roman bricks were used to construct the churches. The modern financial district is built right on top of the old one. London would rise once more to become the world's capital. But this spirit would always be there, a quiet past that is only waiting to be recalled.